Hello, everyone. We are very happy to have you here in our UNESCO Center for Peace interview. It is an honor to have you all here. We are with our one of our guest speakers for the UNESCO Center for Peace Summer Program. We are with the Executive Director of the Center and most importantly, social justice activist, Mr. Kidi Joken. I am Aireli Luna Garcia, Youth Ambassador for UNESCO Center for Peace in Mexico, and it is an honor to have you here. Mas Mari, the floor is yours.
Hi everyone, my name is Masmadi Jihuapia. I am Ghanaian. I am an agricultural engineer, and I am currently the chair for the UNSDC committee. And during the IMUN session, I am also part of the those managing the logistics for the cultural show. I am so thrilled to be here and to engage with Miss Lydia and to basically get to know her more and get to know more about what she does and also introduce myself to everyone here in my own small way. Thank you so much, Areli, for giving me this opportunity, and thank you again, Mr. Joking, for all the phenomenal work you've been doing over the years. It's just been amazing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mas Mari. So the floor is yours. You may ask the first question.
Okay, so Ms. Nylander, you are a risk manager, and I want to ask what do you think is has been the biggest risk in terms of, because you mentioned that risks can come with opportunities and challenges. So looking at the current global situation with the pandemic, what have been the risks for businesses, um, um, like service industries, especially during this pandemic season?
Okay. Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me. It's my pleasure to be here. Thank you to the UNESCO Center for Peace and for, my comrade in arms, Guy. I really appreciate it, and sending my greetings and well wishes to everybody. Your question is a really good one. I would say that related to risk, what has become the profound focus is global supply chains, and specifically the lack of particular sort of protective equipment, whether that's hospital equipment like ventilators or just protective equipment like masks and gloves and things like that. So understanding that many countries had created relationships with only a few manufacturers of those types of things, and what that means for a global shortage was one area that we saw major risks. Another related to and small to mid-sized enterprises that are focused on service delivery is just the lack of foot traffic and the lack of customers leaving their houses and being in lockdown. So essentially, many companies and industries are just basically focused on core operations, trying to keep their core activities still viable while pivoting and looking at new ways to connect with different customer bases or their existing customer base, or eliminating the need for social congregation. So that means a lot of things happening virtually, whether it's weddings or other types of events that would typically have people communing, to service delivery of food, and all types of other consumables. So that's really the broad strokes risks that we've seen, kind of rippling across the globe.
Okay, thank you very, very much. Thank you very much for answering this. I'm very happy to know this. And but I also like my last question
No,
is
we
I would
go
like
one
to
at a
ask
time. Let's just
Yeah,
rotate.
so Mr. Kidi Joken, the next question is yours.
Okay, thank you very much. So, Lydia, again, thank you so much for this heart to heart with the delegates and it was very inspiring. Especially you could see these young people, a young person, a young boy at 16 years old that's calling himself a risk taker. So
Mm-hmm.
you being it, you're you're making your living out of analyzing risks, so you must know about risks more than most people. Is it a how is it a risk for you personally to just analyze everything in your life, or that's actually a tool that is helping you be a better person than you will be if you were not doing risk analysis?
That's a really good question, Guy. Is it analysis paralysis where it feels like you can't do anything because you're constantly looking at it
Yes.
from a risk perspective?
um,
I hope that isn't me. I think I personally am a glass half full type of person. I think I
we are
operate in the
we are
world. Indeed. I think I operate in the world with a natural curiosity about how to make things better. And I think that risk is a dimension of understanding what you need to know in order to make that objective possible.
Okay.
But I wouldn't say that it hamstrings me in any way in the work that I do. It allows me to make balanced, considered decisions, but I still have that overarching hope and enthusiasm and tenacity for the world, which trumps everything. So I think that's my raison d'être, and that's how I focus on things.
Thank you, thank you. I knew that. I just wanted the public to know that as well. Thank you. Okay, please let me mute when we are not talking to make it easy.
Perfect. So, Mrs. Lydia, we know that in the conference, one of your messages was encouraging the delegates to take risks and for them to dare to trust themselves and to go on with the opportunities that life presents them. But we are in a moment where life has shown us that we need to be comfortable being uncomfortable, that we need to be able to be flexible and for us to take our resources and do the best we can with them. But after COVID, even we're going to have even more challenges. But there's a tendency for people to going back into bad habits. So, how would you recommend for us to maintain that mindset and for us to continue taking risks even after the pandemic? Oh, all right. I will open your microphone. Please unmute yourself. I can't unmute you.
Okay.
Perfect.
Sorry, there was
We
just
can
a
hear
little
you
bit
now.
of reverb. Okay. So I would say that that's a really great question. It is, I think history had shown that movements and movement building has required sustained, consistent effort. And so the question I ask this generation is, what have you seen of past generations that you do not want to repeat? And those are the questions that you should ask yourself. And that's the conviction and the energy and tenacity that you need to move forward. Because without that sustained energy and that sustained purpose, you can get distracted. And I think that moments in time, like you're seeing with global demonstrations, asking for, racial harmony and lack of discriminate, to abolish discrimination and all types of oppression of people. Really, you get these flare ups of protest, but what sustains is the long term effort of policy and mindset change, and that takes a lot longer And I think if there's any ever a generation to do it, it's the one that I see in front of me. You have all the tools that you need. You are savvy, you are smart, you use technology like no other generation, and you are bearing witness to what is happening in real time and asking very, very smart, astute questions. And that's the ingredients that you need for any movement building. And so I would say, you know, ask yourself the world that you want for the next 10, 15 years and move forward.
Thank you.
You're
Thank you. It
welcome.
was so empowering to hear it from you. Thank you. So, Masmadi, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you so much, Ms. Lydia. I've listened to all your answers, and they've been very enlightening. I think you particularly mentioned in the session earlier that we are all risk managers, and that was a very interesting discovery of my own self, that I was a risk manager. So I wanted to ask that question. Hello.
It's a little
Yes,
hard to
Masmadi, we can hear you. A little bit
Okay, okay.
rough audio, but we can hear you.
Okay, so I just wanted to ask, like, as a risk manager, I'm pretty sure you've come across a lot of skeptics and people who don't want to take risks and such. Like, so what do you tell to skeptical people and people who always want to play safe? What is the message you have to give them about taking risks and the possibilities and the outcomes that come out of it?
I think that's another very good question. I think that the stakes have to be high enough. I think what you're seeing currently with, for example, all of the different vaccines related to potential vaccines related to COVID 19 is people saying, you know, the risks outweigh the potential input or the impacts. And we need to do this and we need to do it now. And everybody in all centers of the world are trying to figure out how to bring the next level of normacy. And so I think some things are going to matter more to one group of people than another. But I think what's important is addressing global common humanity first. And then I think specifically, risks have the opportunity to provide more information about how we can do things better. And I think that that's another element that sometimes people who are not necessarily risk takers are willing to understand and follow a process to learn more about how to evaluate and do things better. So sometimes it's knowing your audience and knowing what are the types of things that people are interested in and how you can use those things to help develop the type of partnerships and collaborations that make people move past what's comfortable into this place of exploration and curiosity. Those are all really important factors, I think, when you're thinking about, you know, working with people who want to play it safe.
Please unmute yourself, Masmadi.
Okay, thank you very much. I think it's my turn.
Yeah.
So, yes, Lydia, being someone that has traveled across the globe, like we've done, do you see the risk taking? I would say risk taking attitude as something that's related to culture. Have you seen? Is it a cultural thing, or you think it's something that is Western based on if you live in a Eurocentric world, or you think there's an element to the culture into taking the risk?
Again, really great question. I think, wow, that is a really good question. I wouldn't say I wouldn't
Don't
say
go ahead.
I would I know you've got me stumped. I wouldn't say there was necessarily a cultural difference. I think but the viewpoint and the lens through which people see risk and they see the opportunities of positive risk, not necessarily a gamble, but this journey into the
Yeah.
unknown, which
Mm-hmm.
could be in terms of science and innovation, is just really important. It's important to push past what we know is possible, because there could be medical breakthroughs and other things that if you play it safe, you would just never know about. So I
Thank
think
you.
I
Thank
see a little bit of a I see some cultural differences there. I think I've seen cultures that have become, are plagued with, say, weather-related challenges or monsoons or um, hurricanes and things like that, look at risk differently.
you. Mm-hmm.
They're aware of what it feels like to have to start again and again
From
and
scratch. Yeah.
again.
Mm-hmm.
And so maybe their view of what's important in life and their priorities are slightly different. So I think what people maybe hold as important and valuable and prioritize, I see cultural differences there. But as opposed to taking risks for your family, for your community, for what you stand for, I think that's a universally held principle.
Okay. Thank you very
Yeah,
much.
you're welcome.
Okay. Let's wrap up with.
Thank you. And now for us to finish, I know that, well, being a risk taker is easier said than done, and that each of us have opportunities every single day to go out of our comfort zone and make the best of what we have. So, uh, so on that matter, what which technique or which dialogue do you have with yourself for you to be able to take those risks and there for you to even change your life?
Absolutely. That's a really good question. Um, I would say that every day I wake up, I wake up as an oldest daughter. I wake up as a wife. I wake up as a child of Sierra Leone, of London, of all of the places that I consider significant and meaningful to me. And so I think of the people that I'm connected um, through country ties, through family ties, through cultural, connections, through common held beliefs. And I think about those people, and I think about the impact of those that are able to speak candidly and without fear. And I think about those that don't have a voice. And it helps me decide the risks that I'm willing to take, the privilege that I hold, and how I choose to use the voice and the expertise and the abilities and the platforms that I have, and who I choose to champion and what I choose to champion. So I think that that's a very good way to always know what's important, know where you come from, know who you represent and what you represent. And it allows you to go through the world with a balanced view of risk and the potential opportunities that understanding risks affords you.
Perfect. Yeah. Yeah, very much agree. It's a habit. It's a habit. It's not something that just comes out from a moment to another. Um, well, Mrs. Lydia, it was an honor to have you as one of our speakers. Your view and image of life and how we can make it better on our own. I think a very powerful message for our delegates and the whole UNESCO Center for Peace platform. So we thank you very much for being here, Mr. Gidi Joken.
Thank you. I'll just say thank you very much. You are home, okay? Just this is your home, and I promise you, I'll make sure you have your homework by Friday evening. Okay. Thank you.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so
Okay.
much for having me. I really appreciate it. And all the best to all of the participants now and always.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. All have
Thank
a
you.
nice evening. Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye now.
Bye.